With the festive season in full swing, the Drinks Federation of South Africa is emphasizing the importance of consumption and trading. The DFSA calls for South Africans to celebrate responsibly and for alcohol traders to prioritise community safety. DFSA is calling for observance of critical practices, including preventing underage sales, adhering to trading hours, avoiding counterfeit products, and refusing service to visibly intoxicated patrons. And now, for more on this discussion, we're now joined by Head of Research at the DFSA, Dr. Shamal Ramesar, and he joins us now via our video link. Dr. Shamal, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. Now, talking alcohol consumption during the festive season is a very important one. You are calling on for responsible alcohol consumption and trading. What does that look like during the festive season?
Well, good evening, Mbali, and season's greetings to yourself and all the viewers this evening. Of course, we know that around the festive season, most of the public that do consume alcohol tend to indulge and sometimes overindulge. And at the DFSA, we are asking, for responsible consumption over this period. So, to your point, what does responsible consumption look like? It's literally understanding your limits and drinking in what we call moderation. So, in terms of moderate drinking, we highly discourage binge drinking, which is drinking more than 4 or 5 drinks, depends on the female or male, in an hour or 2-hour session. But also, to be cognizant of your limits. One of the things that we highly encourage, of course, is drinking water in between drinks, which we know, helps with the metabolism of alcohol. But at the same time, also to consume or take food, before you start drinking, which also helps with absorption and metabolism as well. So, South Africans do have a culture of drinking, and we are urging the population to drink responsibly over this festive season.
And how important are these practices, particularly during the festive season where a number of people have taken time off work, they've been working throughout the year, and it's time for them to relax now and to catch up with family and friends? How important is it for them to know what their limits are?
No, of course. It is year end. It's been a tough year. It's been a hard year. It's a time to unwind and relax. And alcohol is a product that's meant to be enjoyed in a social setting. And that is why we advocate for consuming alcohol in the manner in which it was designed, and that is to be socially enjoyed. So in terms of, understanding your limits, everybody who does consume alcohol does so differently. You get occasional drinkers, and those are the drinkers, that usually consume less than 12 drinks per annum. But then you do get what we call the moderate drinkers. And our latest research has shown that almost 43% of the population that do consume alcohol in South Africa drinks in moderation, which is very encouraging as well. There are a few, of course, unfortunately, who have a bad relationship with alcohol and tend to overindulge. And that is what we are warning against. So best, look after yourselves in terms of your own health, but also, avoid being a danger to others. So, over the festive period, we highly encourage those individuals that are going to consume alcohol, to make proper arrangements for transport, to not drink and drive, use the e-hailing services, nominate a sober. And if you are out, and you still want to be part of the party, so to say, make use of other alternatives. There are the zero alcoholic and low alcoholic brands as well that you can consume in between drinks to make sure that, you're not getting over intoxicated.
And what is the correlation really, Dr. Shamal, between responsible alcohol service and community safety?
Now, that's a great question, Mbali. And so, when we talk about, the responsibility of the industry, we also call upon the liquor traders, to trade responsibly over the festive season. And trading responsibly really, calls upon them to keep to their liquor license regulations. And, some of the main things that we highly encourage is not to serve alcohol to anyone that is under the age of 18. The industry takes this very seriously. At the DFSA, we are actually, trying to promote what we call mandatory age verification, which means that anybody who does purchase alcohol needs some form of ID. But at the same time, we asked the liquor traders to abide by their trading times according to their license and regulations and municipal bylaws. And the reason for this, of course, is because these times, correlate with the e-hailing services that are available, but at the same time, law enforcement to ensure that, the people get home safely, and so on. Then, of course, something that we highly also recommend is not to deal in illicit alcohol.
Yeah.
So there are different types of illicit alcohol. And, we talk about counterfeit alcohol, and that being the most dangerous. We've seen the recent, headlines in the news where people have unfortunately succumbed, to injuries caused by fake or counterfeit alcohol that's laced with chemicals that are highly dangerous, that causes blindness, it causes, organ failure, and even death in some cases as well. But then, of course, also not to engage in illicit trade from a hijacking and criminal point of view, purely because there is highly evolved syndicates now that are hijacking and stealing alcohol and selling them to vulnerable traders as well. So we like to call it a whole of society approach, where the liquor traders themselves need to take an active role in terms of preventing these.
Yeah.
In addition to those, we also encourage them not to trade alcohol or sell alcohol to somebody that's visibly intoxicated.
All right.
And that is, to promote best practices amongst themselves.
And Dr. Shamal, I mean, you're speaking about something very important, and that has got to do with, the health of many South Africans, and that's the issue around, counterfeit alcohol. What advice do you have for South Africans who will be consuming their alcohol during this festive season, in terms of looking out, for counterfeit products, and for traders as well? What are the tips that you can give them to ensure that they are not consuming counterfeit alcohol?
Sure. And so when it comes to counterfeit alcohol, the syndicates themselves have become evolved, and it's quite difficult. But there are some key telltale signs that we would like, the viewers to take note of. For example, the first one, the price. If it's cheaper than what you would find it in your licensed bottle stores, they usually say if it's too good to be true, it usually is. So that's one of the key telltale signs, if it's cheaper than normal. But then at the same time, when you look at the bottle itself, if you look at the cap, to notice if it's dented, whether it's damaged, whether the seal is still perforated. In fact, if it's smudged, then it's been tainted or adulterated in some way. In terms of the liquid, some of the key telltale signs is that it's not consistently full, so there'll be different levels in the bottles as well. Some are hazardous and floating particles that you can see inside. The color, of course, should also be a giveaway. If it's diluted, it's normally lighter in color. In terms of the bottle, it's sometimes if you pick up a bottle and it feels lighter than normal, then you would know, of course, it's a fake or counterfeit bottle. Look at the labels. The labels sometimes may be at different heights. It may be damaged. It may be stuck, in an angle. These are some of the ways in which you can identify. But also, when you look at the ABV levels, South Africa is one of the countries that has a 43% alcohol ABV. So anything that's different in terms of our spirits, is either imported or it's a fake or counterfeit. So these are some of the ways in which we can, help our viewers to identify whether the alcohol is counterfeit or not. But yeah, it takes a whole of society approach. So really looking at the traders as well, getting involved.
All right, Dr. Shamal, thank you so much for your time. Helpful tips there being given to some of our viewers when it comes to identifying this new phenomenon of counterfeit alcohol. That is Dr. Shamal Ramesar. He is the head of research at the Drinks Federation of South Africa.